was actually at Bath's training session yesterday, and Todd Blackadder at the end of it said, when he was talking to the press, he said the fact that the Chiefs won at Saracens once again demonstrated that Exeter are the team to beat this season.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, I can't run away from the fact we're the Premiership champions last year and we're currently top of the table. So those things stand there on their own and say that. We've got to fight very hard to make sure that stays the case. We've got to deal with that now as we integrate our international players and reintegrate some injured players, and we've got to deal with the challenge that other teams are going to throw at us, not just this week but in Europe as well. So we've got a lot of challenges to face ourselves. We're really looking forward to facing them. We're not running away from them. Have they brought the absolute best out of us in the last 2 weeks? Well, the start of both games would say not at the moment, but in some ways that's quite encouraging, because that's something for us to really target, and we're going to really target getting out of the blocks this weekend and making it a very big game.
With the Anglo-Welsh games as well going so well, and obviously there was a Quins match last week, but do you find in a way that there's sort of an abundance of players going for so few positions? It's more or less the ideal position as head coach? Yeah,
obviously you want strength in depth and you want players playing well. So we're very happy with things like we've still got a couple of important players to come back as well from injury. So we're pretty pleased with how things are going. Everyone who's stepped in and worn the shirt has shown the qualities we want to, which is working very hard and being tough and being resilient and showing real character. That's what we've shown over the last 6 weeks. That's why we're situated in the table where we are, and we've got to make sure that keeps going as the changes happen yet again.
I suppose other than the long-term injuries, people would say, well, what about Jack Noel? Is he any closer to being back?
Yeah, Jack Noel's in full training, so he's now available for selection. Dave Ewers is now up and running and has had some good game time and is training flat out now, so that's another good sign. Obviously Harry Williams is back from international duty, as is Slady and Tom Francis. Sam Simmons, they've all come back in fine fettle. They're all really desperate to get involved. Whether we'll involve them all or not, is a different matter. But the one thing they have done is they've all come straight back in the first day's training and said they want to play. So that's a really nice situation for us to be in. And as I said, having guys like Sam Hill back from injury, Ollie Devoto's picked up a little bit of an ankle niggle, but he's there or thereabouts. And now having Nosey back in there as well, it feels nice to have have plenty of bodies running around out there and training well.
Just looking further afield, do you think the 2 matches against Leinster will determine the group winners in Europe?
It's a little bit early to say. I mean, well, potentially you could say yes, because if one team win both of them, that it's going to be hard to overhaul which team does it. I mean, if the results end up 1 each, it's going to be pretty even, and it's going to be tough. And a draw or whatever. There's so many scenarios that can happen in there. If one of the other teams in the other 2 games gets a double, they catch us straight up again. So it's way too early to say. All we can do is go week by week, and the important thing is we perform very well against Bath, and then we perform very well in what's going to be a huge European game here against Leinster, and that's all we can do. One game at a time. These are 2 very important home games. If we can play at our best, I'll be happy with that.
Brilliant.
Rob, you've talked in the past about how the Bath game here, they were the last side to win here in the league, was a trigger point for what happened last season. Have you reflected at all on that in the build up to this?
Yeah, we've talked about it. As I've said before, we're not afraid to talk about these kind of things. They're there. There's no point running away from them. I think it's a little bit childish to run away from things and ignore that they happened. Bath beat us, and deservedly beat us, because they stuck in there longer than we did at the end of the game. It still rankles a little bit with some of the guys. It wasn't really that game that had been a turning point in our season. We kind of turned the corner a little bit before that, and we were probably unfortunate to lose the week before at Ulster. We could say we were unfortunate to lose against Bath so late in the game, but I think what it did, it just reinforced that if you don't work absolutely flat out right to the last minute, things can still hurt you. We did a lot right that game. We were in the lead for most of the game and in control of large periods, and we let things slip at the end. But it was probably the final thing that gave us that little jolt of going, if you want to win these kind of games, if you want to keep things in your own hands, then you've got to be prepared to fight for everything for 80 minutes. And I think it'll be exactly the same again this week. If we come out here and we fight for 80 minutes, we give ourselves a great opportunity. If we come out here and we want to try and manage the game or switch off for moments, they've got some very, very, very good players who can cause us a lot of damage. So it's going to be a great challenge for us, but one one we should also be really looking forward to.
The term you use is staying in the fight a lot, and that's what you've done particularly these last 2 weeks against Quins and Saracens with second half performances.
Yeah, well, we haven't been perfect in either game. Like in some ways that's a little bit encouraging because we're kind of getting ourselves back up to speed, but at the same time you're not going to be able to do that against everybody. You know, you can't kind of go into the game and give away soft 10, 12 points against many teams, because they're with the teams that get their confidence and they eventually beat you because of it. So we've got to just make sure we're talking about how we want to start the game. That should be more into us now, because we've got a group with a little bit more rugby into them and they're ready to go after a 2-week break. And so I'm kind of banking a lot on the quality of our start this week, because I know we'll be good in the last quarter.
Obviously, Bath any time is a fixture everyone relishes, and I know it's quiet here now. But how much is the home factor going to be a thing on the weekend?
Well, it'll be big if we can make it big, you know. And I think that's always a thing that I want to reiterate with the players. You know, we can't expect the crowd to be absolutely revved up here and 100% behind them unless we really give them something to get after. And I think that's probably what we failed to do in Harlequins. We probably started just a little bit quietly and didn't maintain some real intensity, and it was a little bit difficult for the crowd to stay right on it, because the game had some ups and downs, and Harlequins scoring. You know, we've got to do something in our body language and our intent and the way we play to really get the crowd going. If we do that, you know, there's no better place to play rugby than Sandy Park.